The Nissan Sentra is a Honda hunter, period. Welcome back to another episode of Mod Stars. I'm your host Z. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And starting with the 5th gen Nissan Sentra from 02 to 06, these cars weigh 2,760 pounds. And the 2.5S Sentra, it has the same engine as the SCR Spec V, making 165 horsepower, 175 pound-feet of torque because it's connected to a 4-speed automatic transmission. And you can find these for about $3,500. Engine is the Spec V, but it looks like a base model Sentra. Now, speaking of the Spec V, that makes 175 horsepower, 180 pound-feet of torque, also to the crank, 6-speed manual transmission. Find these for about $6,000. Moving on to the 6th generation Sentra, the SCR makes 177 horsepower, 172 pound-feet of torque to the crank, weighs 3,050 pounds, connected to an Xtronic CVT transmission. And lastly, the Spec V makes 200 horsepower, 180 pound-feet of torque to the crank, 3,070 pounds is what it weighs, and it's connected to a 6-speed manual transmission. The 6th gen cars can be found anywhere from $5,600 to $8,000. Now, for the 5th gen engines, the QR25DE had some problems with very simple solutions in my opinion. So the input shaft was a problem. JWT said, hey, we have an input shaft delete. It's $100. There's that. The primary cat connected to the original exhaust manifold had potential of carbon buildup, which could backflow into the engine. You can either take it out and periodically clean it or replace it with aftermarket headers. Ultimination has some headers for $135. XS Power has headers for $250. And if you want to get a little bit more creative and unique, 2JR has their version 2 unequal length headers. The Medusa headers is what they call them, for about $490. Their products are on sale currently, maybe due to the holidays. SC Concepts has an alternator heat shield as well, and they have a couple different versions of this, but version 1 goes for $100. You can also get a catch can for the fix the oiling issue for $160. And for underdrive pulleys and just lightweight pulleys in general, 2JR has a solution to that too, anywhere from $70 to $100 depending on which pulleys you want to get. Now, to put this in perspective, intake, headers, exhaust, underdrive pulley, just one, and an uprev tune on the 5th gen Spec V makes about 170 horsepower to the wheels. I'll leave a link in the description below. And that's 5 horsepower off of what it makes to the crank. You know, on paper, that's impressive, especially for a car that weighs 2,700 pounds. Now, the 6th gen Spec V, just intake, header, exhaust, no tune, makes about 190. And I'll leave the link in the description for that as well, along with the common problem and repair video to the Sentras as well. That's going to be linked in the description too. Now let's put this in perspective really quick. If a Spec V 6th gen, just bolt-ons, no tune, no pulley upgrade, makes 190 horsepower to the wheels, what would it go? How would it go if you swapped that into the 5th gen Spec V, or heck, even made that without even having to swap it, just made that in the 5th gen Spec V? How much does a Honda S2000 weigh? 2,800 pounds, 2,870. How much does it make to the wheel stock? 180. The AP2 is a little bit more torquey from my understanding, but not much. Doesn't rev as high, right? Civic Si of that era, same deal, a lot lighter. K-Series probably makes about the same, maybe a little bit more than this, especially tuned. RSX Type S, or just base model RSX, a lot lighter, one of the lightest cars. And I know, still, the power is very close to all those. But the Sentra's got a little bit more torque to horsepower ratio and is geared closer as well. And I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there thinking, well, my Honda or my Acura makes a lot more power than this. Yeah, well, bolt-ons and tunes, it depends on what you mean by bolt-ons, first off. And it also depends on which K-Series you have. And the cars that have K-Series, and then the S2000, well, it depends on what you have done to the F20 or F22 or the K-Series you may have swapped into it. So you could just have intake, headers, exhaust, and a tune. It's going to make about 200 horsepower or so, more or less, maybe 215 max. Sure, not bad. But you still have the extra weight. And you rev very high in the power band, which also for front-wheel drive cars could mean that you're spinning a lot and fighting for traction compared to this, where RPM, the power band is, more mid-range, it has more torque and closer geared. It can get through it quicker, potentially, which is why, regardless of the weight, it can compete. Now, if you're one of the guys or girls that have like a RSX or a Civic, and you're like, yeah, my bolt-ons is intake header exhaust, bigger injectors from RDX, throttle body, plenum, and a tune. I'm making anywhere from 220 to 240 horsepower. Yeah, okay, sure. Maybe. And I say that because just all things being equal, this car still has potential to compete. Even the automatic one, you might think, oh, it's auto, you can't do much with that. Oh, yeah, you can. Level 10 transmission has a torque converter upgrade for $500 and a rebuild kit for $700. So there's that too. It's just something to think about, guys. What do you guys think? Is the Sentra, a competitor? This is one of many, in my opinion. We're going to talk about others in the future. We're also going to talk about the non-V-Spec Sentra later on as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and share. If you don't know, now you know, but do what you want to do.